Hi guys, welcome back to my fortnightly hangar chat. Welcome back to the hangar. You find the desk in here a bit of disarray. Obviously I'm working in here. I'm just rendering part 8. So I'm just rendering the next part of the Fokker triplane build, and that will be up for the weekend. It's a lovely day out there. The wind is still blowing horrendously, so no test fly yet on the lovely little Da Vinci Flyer, but she's ready to go. I have made a couple of alterations to her. Do you want to see? All right, I'll let you see it. I'll let you see it before the next flight. All right, so the Da Vinci Flyer ready for her next go. I've just got another motor to replace the one with the bent shaft. So I've changed the pilot around. Well, it's still me, but now as you can see I'm holding a joystick of sorts, and I've cut the legs off because I've got no undercarriage now. I think it looks cleaner for it, but how does it take off and land? Well, in the traditional way, of course, with a pair of legs. That's magnetised, they clip on there like that. So now when you see the model flying by, they're quite light, they'll blow backwards like that. and they look pretty cool, I think. And when it lands, because they'll just go back like that, because he's not going to run. So that one's ready for another test flight. So I've just received another motor to put in there. So I'll slide that one in and it'll be ready to go. Looking forward to that. It's been a fun experiment actually. It's come out quite nicely. I'm amazed how strong these wings are, because it's cartwheeled twice now and no damage. Whether it's because they flex around or not, I don't know, but maybe the flexing is good, I don't know. But we got the test gliding going pretty well. I've moved the ESC, it was underneath, and I've put it on top now. Oops, it just sits in the top there because it was a little bit vulnerable underneath without an undercarriage. So ESC is back in the top. Receiver's still under my garments. The only thing in the bottom now is the battery and the bottom of the servos, which are protected. So the battery will sit in here, and I've got plenty of space to adjust the CRG. But as we found, the CRG was quite a long way back for the glide. So that one's ready for its next go. Hopefully this weekend coming up. It's Friday today as I record this. Hopefully this weekend we'll see it up and in the air. So what else have I been doing? You sit there. I've been getting on with the triplane, finishing all the last little details before I start covering. As you'll see, or you'll have seen by now probably, depends when I upload this compared to the latest triplane part. I've installed the servos in the fuselage and made it closed loop on the rudder. I know you've got to get things, you've got to play around a little bit with the closed loop, but it's going to be fun. The two servos I didn't mention on the video, the two rudder and elevator servos, which are now both going to be on the elevator side. I had to make the holes bigger using a Dremel. What a tool. I'll tell you what, I bought a cheap one a few years ago, and to be honest it's rubbish. It just hasn't got any power to it. And then I was given another cheap one, equally as rubbish. But if you want a Dremel, buy a Dremel. I'll tell you what, I use this almost every day with the little box of fittings you can buy. I've got here, come here, a little box like that. I forget what it was, 20 quid or something from Lidl's. If you don't know Lidl's in the UK, it was a German company actually, but every so often they have like bargain tools made by Park Zone, most of them. But it's got loads of fittings, it's got loads of fittings underneath. So you get your favourites and you know what's what. All these little brushes I've never used actually. But yeah, worth its weight in gold. Probably one of my most used tools. Definitely worth getting. And it goes in my pillar drill as well. So multi-use. The other thing I've done on the triplane, it's ready for covering now. I've got the covering. I'll show you what it is actually. If you don't know already, let's put that little light on. If you don't know already, it's Oratex. This is Oratex Clear. When it says clear, it just means it's unpigmented, I think. And I'm going to finish paint the fuselage. So, or I'll paint the whole thing. It's about 30 quid a roll. I've got 3 rolls. So I've got to be careful how I use it. But it's the bee's knees again, and if you're going to build a lovely model, you want a lovely finish. I'm going to finish the triplane with emulsion, wall emulsion. It worked really well on my David Boddington Manic biplane. Couple of coats, slightly watered down, I think it was. Couple of coats, added little weight, but really rich colours, and I can get the colour matched to precisely the colour I want. The colour scheme I'm going to do now was going to be blue and white, Lieutenant August Raven's machine. You can Google it, and the picture comes up with this lovely blue illustration, blue front half white with a nice raven on the side. Is actually wrong. It should be red and white. All of August Raven's machines were red and white. They were never blue and white. And the First World War Facebook page, some really good experts on there pointed me to some decent resources and corrected my mistake. So it's going to be red front half, white back half with a nice white. I think August's machine had the white raven on the side, and all the other machines in his flight had black ravens. So that's going to go on the side along with some serial numbers and what have you. So that's in hand. I'm finishing the scale details on the triplane. Oh, here's something for you. I haven't revealed this yet, so here's a sneaky peek. The cabane struts and undercarriage struts are aluminium stamped out, shaped quite nice. Not so easy to paint finish, I was thinking. So how can I finish it? And what I came up with why not cover it with heat shrink tubing? So when I was going to do it blue, here's one I've already done with blue heat shrink. Lovely matte finish, indestructible, easy, never chip, and looks really nice. And then all I have to do is to match this blue to the paint that I buy. But because I'm not doing it blue anymore, I'm doing it red, so I've just got some red heat shrink and that will suffice. I don't know if you know, I got caught out. When you're ordering heat shrink, when you're looking at sizes, it's not measured width-wise. You buy a bit 25 millimeters wide, it's not going to be that size at all. It's actually measured on its diameter. So bear that in mind. So this is like about 16 millimeters wide. So I bought some 20 mil, which will shrink down nicely onto that. If you buy it, if you order the wrong size, it just won't shrink down enough. Ask me how I know. So that's that anyway. So I'm really pleased with that. That's a good idea. Got the Da Vinci Flyer to maiden flight. Really looking forward to developing that model a little bit more. My idea, by the way, is if I can get that one to fly really nicely, which I'm sure I will, and then I'll build a second one out of light ply, not balsa. I'm keeping it simple for the fact that I would very much like to try and put a kit together. So there's more experimenting to be done with the wing yet. Possibly laminating it in the normal laminating way, or sticking with this method. There's a little bit of experiment to be done, a bit more experimenting to be done with the covering. I did have an idea actually to build one out of foam board, because you could cut any shape you wanted and then just decorate it how you like. It wouldn't be quite as nice at the back because it'd be chunkier, a chunkier fuselage. Probably you could reinforce it, so I'm thinking already if it was quite a small section, you could run 2 bits of carbon glued into the corners. Of course, the thing is with light ply, not light ply, the thing is with foam board is you need a glue gun. I've just bought another glue gun. I've got 2 in the drawer, which are like toy glue guns basically. This one's a little bit better, seems to work very well. This is a the well-known brand, Stanley. It's a Stanley glue gun with the thick, I use the thick glue tubes, glue dollops, that's what we call them. And it seems to work quite well, so it's worth buying a decent glue gun straight away. But we'll see how we get on with that. That's quite nice. I'm really looking forward to starting the covering actually of the triplane. The only thing I haven't done now is to fit the aileron servos in the top wing. I've done the wheels, well, say done them, made a start. Let me show you. So here's the wheels. I've just given them a light coat of primer. The original wheel covers were ABS plastic, but there's no centre hole in them, so you've got to bolt them on, put the nuts on, and then glue the caps on, which you can't then get to the nuts. So a friend of mine in the Canada, I think, 3D printed some up for his, and he kindly printed some out for me. So I'll bolt those on, I'll glue those on, but you can still access the nuts on the inside through the centre hole there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use to glue the tyres on with, because they're a slightly loose fit. You can hold it up to the light, you can see little patches of daylight around it, so maybe epoxy, I guess. But they're slightly wider than the wheel to allow for the width for the hub to go on. So that'll go on like that. In fact, looking at it, I can see bare wheel there, so I have to give that a fizz in the middle as well with primer. So the wheels are moving slowly forward. This is the heat shrink I've got for the struts that's just arrived. It's not a bad colour red. This is well, it's supposed to be quite a bright red really, but that's not a bad colour. And then I can just take this down to the paint shop and get them to match that. Chair's going down again. I just had to knock the cat off the chair here because she was sleeping on it. She's discovered my modelling chair and my computer chair, and now she's suddenly sitting on them after years. So anyway, so I'm going to heat shrink that. That's enough of the cat. We don't want to know about cats. She's a lovely cat, mind you. That will go on there like that. I'll just heat shrink it down. It should shrink enough. It's supposed to shrink 50%, so that's going to be just past the centre line, so that should be okay. Haven't tried it yet, but there wasn't a next size down available, so that better fit anyway. So I've got enough there to do the undercarriage struts and the cabane struts. Oh, something else has just arrived. This is great. I don't know if you watch Model Aviator's channel. Adam runs that one and Heidi does the filming. But he's just restrung an albatross kit using this steel cable, but it's actually steel. It's not steel at all, it's just elastic. But doesn't that look like steel? Now I went for a 1.5mm, it's about 1/16 diameter, because it's going to look, they had 1mm, but it's going to look a bit lost on such a big model, so I've gone for this. And I'm really excited. It's really shiny. I might be able to dirty it up just slightly, just a little bit of sort of matte black paint or something, just rub through my fingers to experiment that, because it is very shiny. well, it's chrome shiny, it's a little bit too shiny, but anyway, so that's great. That's just arrived in the post this morning, so looking forward to fitting that. On the triplane, there's just a bit between the front cabanes and another cross down on the undercarriage struts. Another thing that I've just finished doing is the mountings for the wingtip skids on the triplane. You'll see on the video me making them. They go, let's see, like that. It goes on there. You can see all the way around. They're a little bit out of scale. They're a little bit too big, but they're ideal. They're the perfect fitting, because looking at the pictures I've seen of the full-size ones, this is what they were. This is what they look like. So that goes up into the lower wing, about there. You see that, and looks really nice, really smart. So that's another thing, little scale detail that is going to be really nice. And yeah, the weather's been not playing ball really. The wind hasn't dropped. The only time the wind dropped is when I maidened the Flyer there. Apart from that, the wind just hasn't dropped. The sun is out. It's out now. It's brilliant, but not for maiden fly-in little aeroplanes like that. So that's what I've been up to the last fortnight. Time marches on. As you know, I try and do at least one build video during the week. Sometimes, depending on my workflow at work, sometimes I'll have to work quite a lot, and it's a case of getting up early or staying up late to get the job done. But I like to try and do one. I'm just looking up at the Fokker triplane. Looks lovely, fuselage. It's nice to try and upload something for you guys to look at every week. And I do appreciate all your comments, and most of the comments are from regular commenters, which is great. Occasionally, despite my encouragement for commenters, just occasionally I'll have somebody new will comment, which is great to see a new name in the comments list as well. So keep it up, keep the comments coming, and I'll see you in the next Hangar Chat. But this one's been fun to do. I must stop saying Takes forever to edit out all the ums. And then you've got to be careful, as you'll see, which is where the was. I've just painted the propeller for the Da Vinci Fly because it was just horrible grey plastic, and I painted it brown and put on some, no, I'll show you now. Painted it brown and just made it look a little bit more scale-like with sort of laminations. It's very crudely done, just with a big old thick brush, but it just makes it look a little bit more like it's a laminated propeller. Not that Da Vinci had laminated propellers, but if he did, that's what it would look like. So I can put the motor in that one now it's come. So all go on the cliffhangers front there. Okay guys, cheers, see you in the next Hangar Chat. Thanks for looking in. Anytime the car's on the drive, I'm here. Just knock on the door, come in for a cup of tea, coffee, whatever. Cheers guys, what's the time? 12:15, gosh, I'm gonna get to work. Cheers, bye.